Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Real News Extra. My name is Fred. I'm the operations manager here at Relaw APC, and joining me today is Jennifer Felten, the principal and founder of Relaw APC. Hi, Jennifer.
Hi, Fred.
So why is title fraud so difficult not only to detect, but also to fix once it's occurred?
So title fraud is where a deed is recorded against a property that wasn't executed by the real owner.
Okay.
Right? So an impersonation, a forgery, fraud. The problem with deed fraud is that anybody can record anything against your property.
Right.
A fake notary, a bad notary, a non-notary, right? Any of those things can result in a fake deed being recorded against your property. Once it's recorded and you don't know that that's going to happen,
Right.
then your title's clouded. And so it's a huge problem if it happens and takes effort to resolve.
So what are some technologies that are being considered to help reduce the risk of these things?
Right. Well, the biggest new technology, there's two. One is kind of facial recognition type software. You know,
Right.
you see these deep fakes, right? You see how much we can impersonate a person's
Right,
image.
right.
We can also verify a person's identity by
Okay.
their face. And so we've been slowly shifting to electronic notarization with cameras. And so using a electronic notarization with facial recognition is something we're hoping to be able to do in the future to manage notarization. The other big thing is blockchain, right?
Right.
So controlling data and controlling the information that's available and putting it in a system that's secure versus recording, which is just paper. And right, even today, electronic recording, the original paper never even gets to the recorder's
Right,
office, right? So trying to mitigate some of those issues are on the forefront, but they're not here today.
Got it. So what are some steps that homeowners and real estate professionals both can take to protect some of these property documents?
Right. So you can't stop someone from recording something against your property.
Right.
And unfortunately, that's just not possible. However, you can monitor your property records so that if it happens, you can be proactive in resolving it, because the longer you wait, the more challenging resolving the issue is.
Okay.
So it's really a matter of doing some monitoring to mitigate your risk. And things like, we're seeing a lot of title fraud where vacant land is being sold by someone who's not the owner.
Right.
So documenting, like putting a sign up, this property's not for sale, right? Like notifying the local authorities, notifying, the real estate association, like things you can do to be proactive to try and let people know you're not selling your property.
Right.
Are ways to try and mitigate some of these risks.
Got it. Well, thank you. And thank you for joining us on this episode of the Real News Extra. If you're enjoying this content, I invite you to click on like or subscribe. And of course, ring that little bell for future notifications. My name is Fred, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.